Well, it appears uncertainty about money cuts deeper than uncertainty about health. Data from the Australian Bureau of Statistics suggests we were actually happier in 2020 during the pandemic than we are now. And the stress is real. More than 1 in 5 households report they'd be unable to come up with $2,000 within a week if needed. Now, the analysis using ABS data was released today by consulting firm KPMG Australia. Let's bring in the author, urban economist Terry Rawnsley. Terry, welcome. Overall, what are we seeing? What's the snapshot we're seeing in this data?
Yeah, what we've seen is since 2019, there's been a marked decrease in people's life satisfaction. So the ABS asked people on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling? Before COVID, it was 7.7, during COVID, 7.2, and last year was 7.1. So we're really seeing people less satisfied with their lives.
And, there's what people are feeling, but there's also indicators, and such as I mentioned a moment ago, how difficult it would be for some people to come up with $2,000 in an emergency.
Yeah, there's a whole range of indicators. So that $2,000 metric's been used for a long time. And if people can't find that amount of money, it means if their car breaks down, if the fridge breaks, if there's an unexpected bill, they really can't cover it. And other metrics talked about people really struggling with cash flow issues. And also we looked at more macro numbers. We see that real wages across the country are kind of down 4% over the last 5 years. Household consumption per capita is pretty flat over the last 5 years. So households just aren't able to buy the same volume of goods and services. And even metrics like median household wealth's pretty flat over the last 5 years. So all these metrics kind of point to households being quite stressed when it comes to their finances.
And any other reasoning did it come up during this as to why people are feeling this way?
Yeah, and we see kind of across the different age groups. So we see the 25 to 34 year age groups being kind of 6.8 in terms of life satisfaction. And this is quite a diverse group. We have people who are probably in the rental market feeling stressed about rent increases. You might have people trying to get into the housing market to be homeowners. They're worried about being able to find a property, saving up for the deposit. And then you've probably got a group in there who have got a big mortgage, feeling stressed about paying that back. And then also you've probably got people in that age group of just starting to have children. So a lot of challenges for that 25 to 34 age group.
But the dissatisfaction was across all age groups though, wasn't it?
It was, but there's more variation. So those younger age groups, the 44 to 54 were down. But interestingly, the 65 plus age group, their life satisfaction was pretty much unchanged from before COVID. So once again, telling us that if you're sort of paid off the mortgage, financially secure, don't have those key time pressures, you're still feeling relatively secure about your life.
Tell us about the differences between the types of dissatisfaction during the pandemic compared to now.
Yeah, so like we saw a fall before the pandemic from 7.7 out of 10 to 7.2. And that was pretty across all age groups. Some of the younger age groups were obviously feeling it more. They might have been parents who were dealing with home learning for their own children. You might have had younger people who were confined to their 5-kilometre radiuses there. So that period really was a different degree of uncertainty as to like what is happening with the pandemic. Lockdowns were impacting people. Whereas now we've kind of got a different sort of fall in life satisfaction around financial insecurity and what's going to happen moving forward.
And importantly, the data, it actually precedes the Middle East crisis. What does that tell you about, if we were to measure now what we'd be finding?
Yeah, I suspect that life satisfaction number would fall in again. So we know that people are under stress in terms of cost of living pressures coming through from the Iranian crisis. We know there's been a couple of interest rate rises coming through the system since this survey was conducted. So people will be feeling even more stressed regarding their household budgets. Rents have ticked up as well. So probably there's no sign that this year's result will be any better. And given all those current challenges, even next year's number is probably going to be pretty dire as well.
And I mean, how difficult is it to obtain this sort of data so that it has meaning, and why is it important that we do that?
Yeah, and I think this is collected across a couple of different surveys across the country. It's trying to dig into sort of people's thinking and views, because we can look at a range of macroeconomic data which tells us sort of overall how the economy is performing. We look at averages, but this is kind of cutting to the next level and seeing how people are feeling. And that life satisfaction is obviously heavily influenced by financials, but it's also about time pressures. And interestingly, that 45 to 54 age group had a bit of a drop as well into the 6s. And that's probably a bit of a sandwich generation. They're people who are trying to get their own kids to school in the morning. They've got their own mortgage to worry about and cost of living pressures, but also their parents might be aging. There might be conversations about how do we get our parents into aged care. So we can definitely see a bit of a sandwich generation be impacting there, where people are worrying about their kids, their own finances, but also their parents.